Speaking of sports energy drinks, Kyle's going as fast as you can. WrestleMania is this weekend. All right. So that's a little bit of context for the listeners, viewers out there. In abundance, you're all out there waiting bated breath with what I'm about to say. We grew up watching wrestling. Okay, we come from the attitude era, the ruthless aggression era. Thank you very much. We wrestled in our backyard. Having three siblings, four boys. We wrestle all the time. So Andrew kind of looks like a wrestler right now. I'm kind of loving that. So we come from all of our knowledge, our background, the people we like, the characters we vibe with. They all stem from that era, the early 2000s, late 90s vibe. Scotty, thank you. I just wanted to thank you for being the one of us who has maintained some viewership. There might have been a gap here or there, but you absolutely know the most in terms of current events in the WWE realm. So I will be leaning on you, to inform us of what to expect, what to look for. I can rattle off some matches here. We can go match by match. How would you like to do this?
Match by match, but first let me just say I feel obligated to preface this that I've not been a super huge fan since the 90s. With
Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed.
I understand, but with COVID and quarantine, it has allowed me to, especially that 9 month or however long it was span without any live sports. There was a hole in me because I love sports so much. That brought me back to my roots, so to speak. It brought me back to what really got me into just wrestling, like wrestling in high school. Sports and sports entertainment is a key hobby of mine, and so wrestling and WrestleMania has brought me back to that. So yes, I am a little bit more knowledgeable now. I kind of follow it, and so because of that, I think I can speak to some. So I think going match by match, Kev, would be a good thing.
That's great. I also just to give us some context. So, last year COVID turned everything upside down. WWE was one of the few, along with UFC, which we're not quite there yet. But WWE pushed on. They had their event, no fans, no anything. And I gotta say, I appreciate them trying. But last April, when it was all so new, it was rough. I watched both nights. They've split WrestleMania into two nights, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, where it all used to be just one live pay-per-view event. Last year was very rough. I mean, it was one of the first times people saw it without fans, so there was a huge adjustment, and a lot of it wasn't enjoyable for me. Just not having that crowd noise, that excitement, that energy, the Rock's music comes on, boom, and everybody goes nuts. That wasn't there. So this year, and Scotty, maybe, I don't know the details. Maybe you can tell us what the setup's going to be like for this WrestleMania.
So this WrestleMania is actually going to be pretty exciting because since COVID started last March, as Kevin just said, they haven't had any fans at all. And then I think it was back in August or so they introduced the Thunderdome, which they pumped in fake crowd noise. They have the Zoom of the fans. It made it a lot more bearable to watch, a lot more entertaining. You could feel like there was some crowd presence there, but there was no. And this is the thing that made WWE and all of professional wrestling so popular. There was no live crowds where the wrestlers can get the live feeding off the crowd, where they can, the crowd can actually let you know what they really think about the match that they're watching at the moment. That it's all been, just kind of produced by WWE. So the crowd noise has been, you've been cheering for the faces, you've been booing for the heels, but that doesn't always happen with live shows. So for WrestleMania, they're obviously been very excited to announce that they are doing it in front of, I think, 22,000 fans in Raymond James Stadium, home of the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this is going to be the first live event that has been done for 2 nights in a year.
Okay, so we won't go through every single match, but I'll touch on the main matches, the main events, and then you just let me know if there's anything else that keep your eye out for. It could be good. So the main event, I'll give you a little bit of my opinion on this. I believe it's the main event. I don't know what order things will be. And again, it's split in 2 different nights, but this year's Royal Rumble winner, Edge, facing Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan in a triple threat match. I'm rooting for Edge, obviously. I've never really liked Daniel Bryan. I've got to tell you, it feels like a bit of a slight to have the Royal Rumble winner in a triple threat match. I mean, come on, it's a shot. What the hell did Daniel Bryan do to deserve this? I mean, come on, Scotty, talk to me here.
So this, ironically, is very, very similar to I think it was 2014 when Daniel Bryan won his first WWE title, when Batista won the Royal Rumble that year. When he came back after being in Guardians of the Galaxy, becoming a big Hollywood star, he came back to wrestling. He won the Royal Rumble. Everyone was anticipating that he was going to make a title run. He's going to have a short reign, build his brand. But the fans didn't want that at the time. The fans wanted Daniel Bryan. The fans wanted him to be champion. And so most people think that the crowd and the live audience alone made Daniel Bryan work his way into the championship storyline and ultimately win that year. Many people are making those comparisons this year because Daniel Bryan is a little bit older now. This is probably his last stint. He's now a new father. So people want this to be a last championship run for Daniel Bryan. However, here is why I think that is the wrong take, and that's not going to happen. What this did was unleash Edge to be the person that he is, because Edge is not that good and effective as this babyface. I returned from an injury after 10 years. Like, it's a good story. It's a great story, but it's not a good character for Edge. Edge should be a deranged freak heel, right? Just someone who goes nuts, who is loose cannon. And what has happened through the storyline in recent weeks, and why this is such a fun build-up to WrestleMania, is that Edge has turned into that again because he feels slighted. He feels that this should be his match against Roman Reigns. And so he now is against both, and they've generated some really good heat for this match to be exciting. The other the real big storyline that a lot of fans aren't really talking about, Roman Reigns since SummerSlam, when he made his return, has been a beast, but he's also kind of like, with a few feuds, just kind of scraped away. So it's actually going to be a really exciting main event. It is the main event Sunday night instead of the Saturday night main event. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. I think that all three should be in here in this match, and I think WWE did a really good job of inserting someone in a way that makes a lot of sense, but also really unleashes Edge to be the rated R superstar that he always was.
I remember we all remember Edge from back in the day. He's been around a long time. When you said like his last run for Daniel Bryan, I'm like, this is Edge's he came back from a serious back injury. He was gone for a long time, but the thing I like so much about wrestling is it's a soap opera. It's a soap opera with muscular athletes. I mean, that's all it really is. I mean, Edge has been around such a long time. I remember him when he was running around with Brood and like the old Undertaker. You remember Gangrel and Christian and stuff? Crazy. But you mentioned the other main event, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. And I got to say, Bobby Lashley, I was texting you, Scotty. I don't know when it was, but it was a match. It was the night Bobby Lashley lost the U.S. title. And I text you, I'm like, you know what? Bobby Lashley has always been just like the U.S. champion. Nothing else. Like he's been around for a long time, like 10, 15 years. Why should I be excited about Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre?
You should be excited for a few reasons. The first thing that I'll say, and they have done a masterful job with Lashley's character over the course of the last year, because if you look back a year before he won the WWE Championship, he was getting in a fight with Rusev about Lana and like this whole Lana marrying storyline, which I think was just silly. And now he's main eventing WrestleMania in the course of a year, and they've done that by actually giving him a push and promoting him as this beast. And throughout the course of this past year, as he helped build the Hurt business as the chief Hurt officer, or CHO, with MVP, they have actually built him up to be this monster like a Brock Lesnar who has not been beaten, has not even been close to being beaten. So the traditional monster heel now as champion going in uh, to WrestleMania, hopefully giving Drew McIntyre that opportunity to get his WrestleMania championship moment in front of live crowds that he didn't have last year because of all.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I don't like Drew McIntyre is because he beat Lesnar last year in like a 30-second match at WrestleMania and no fans. I didn't even, I don't know. I'm not, I watched the pay-per-views. I watched the Royal Rumbles. Drew McIntyre as a guy. I know it's about the story. I just kind of said it was about the story, but as a guy, I don't care about Drew. So
Drew, they've done a really good job with Drew this year and
not you, Drew. Sorry.
Yeah, not you, Drew. Sorry. But yeah, they've really done a good job of building up his character, showing his dominance. He has great promos. He is the traditional everyman face who has been through some hardships. He's overcome them. He's a good role model and example. He's got kind of a cool little gimmick, with the Claymore and cool entrance, and they've done well with him. But truly, the real unsung hero here, and what I really want to just be able to say is MVP. MVP, man, coming back like last
you seem like you've been wanting to say this for a long time.
I have.
Get it off your chest, buddy. Express yourself.
Because MVP made Bobby Lashley. He made this main event. Like him establishing the Hurt Business as this cool stable that was mostly heel, but sometimes like this whole ridiculous Retribution feud. Like they became the faces in that feud by like just whooping the crap out of Retribution. He on the mic and he in the ring and he with Bobby Lashley and Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, they made Raw this last year. They were the only entertaining thing on Raw. And so I'm really glad that WWE kind of, put them in the main event, but I'm also very sad that over the last 2 weeks they're clearly breaking them up and they are, MVP might not even be on the show. Maybe he had a 1-year deal, I'm not even sure, but I just want to I think that anyone that watches this in the entire wrestling world should pay their respects to MVP for making this last year on Monday nights more bearable than they ever would have been.
Okay. Last match that we'll highlight here, and it's not going to be the Nigerian drumstick match. What is it?
The Nigerian drum match between Apollo Crews and Big E.
Yes, of course. The WWE they do this every once in a while. I remember a while ago with the great Khali, who just was inducted to the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame. They had a Punjab prison match, which I don't know if that's PC. I don't even know what it means, but they had it, and I don't know. I don't really remember watching it. But the one match I am excited for is the Fiend versus Randy Orton, because I'll tell you what, Randy Orton is one of those old school wrestlers. Not old school. He's not like the Hulk Hogan or anything like that, but old school guys that was there 20 years ago, and he wrestles like he's a great in-ring talent. He sells every single move, every single hit he takes. I love watching Randy Orton, and I think the Fiend is that way too. And aside from the Fiend literally dying earlier this year, I'm really excited for this match. Tell me about it, Scotty.
This match definitely is I would say out of all the matches in this WrestleMania, this feud has been the longest build up, I suppose. It's going to be interesting because obviously Bray Wyatt, aka the Fiend, has not been in the ring since TLC. So it'll be cool. The only problem that I have with their build up right now is he came back at the last WrestleMania Fastlane. He like broke out of the ring and he looked all melted because he was lit on fire and it was really cool. They have done very little since then, which is about a month ago, to build up to this match. In fact, the go home episode of Raw on Monday, neither Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss, or the Fiend were even on the entire episode, and that's the lead-in episode to WrestleMania. So I think they did a good job of telling the story to get to this point, but I really wish there was a little bit more, going into the event. It still should be pretty interesting though, and hopefully we'll get some, finality to the feud. What Bray Wyatt does after this, I have no idea, but he can't go around walking around like this melted monster forever. It just, it's not going to live long term, but we'll see.
Drew, what do you got on WrestleMania?
Well, I've always liked WrestleMania a lot. The one thing that I especially like about WrestleMania is when they do like the WWE Hall of Fame stuff. Like that's usually when they have, you know, just random entrances. And this year, I know touches home with a lot of us because RVD, Rob Van Dam, is in the Hall of Fame now. Not only that, but we also have Kane going in. And because of COVID, they're also doing the 2020 Hall of Fame this year as well. So that's like JBL, guys like that. But I always get hyped up because the random like celebrity that gets inducted as well, like each year. And I believe this year is Ozzy Osbourne, which is hilarious and awesome. So I am, definitely excited to see, that kind of stuff, the Hall of Fame, and then just like watching some of the matches because,
Dude,
yeah.
yeah, Eric Bischoff. I'll tell
Eric
you what,
Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff, and I've gone back and watched some of those like late '90s WCW, the whole Monday Night Wars and everything. Eric Bischoff is awesome. Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman are like they're not unsung heroes. He just made the Hall of Fame. Paul Heyman will too. But those guys, I mean, those are titans of the wrestling industry, just like Vince McMahon is. Those guys were incredible.
Completely agree, especially storytellers and hype builders. They had a very good on ring performance and persona too. But yeah, Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon. That made that era so great.
Yeah, I mean, and think about how difficult it must be to be a storyteller, a producer, and also a performer all at the same time. Like I can barely, tie my shoes. Um, I can tie my shoes okay. Okay, I was gonna ask you guys, but I didn't prepare you guys for this. But let's just see what happens here. Scotty, give me your fantasy WrestleMania match
Fantasy, like, of all time,
of
anyone.
all time, preferably nobody wrestling now, old guys.
Okay.
Oh no,
I would.
sorry. Okay, I'm changing this. Andrew, don't edit this because it shows my incompetence, and that's okay. I want one guy from now. I'm going to ask you too, Drew. One guy from or girl, one superstar from now, and one from the past in a fantasy WrestleMania main event.
From now, one guy from the past. Okay. I would have to say I would like to see Roman Reigns against The Rock, and that actually might happen. But in their primes.
What are you doing to me, Scotty? Well, but that's not going to happen because The Rock arguably is in his prime, but not in wrestling.
No,
I bet you. I bet you, if
listen,
The Rock stepped into the ring right now, he'd be fantastic.
he would be absolutely be. He'd be fantastic. The guy looks more jacked than he did 20 years ago. First of all, but seriously, let me just defend this a little bit before you dismiss it. They share the same ancestor, the Samoan, and the lineage of that whole family, and just Samoans as wrestlers, that whole group. They can make a very intriguing storyline today, let alone seeing how they would be back in their primes. I think that'd be I'd love to watch it now.
Drew, you got one?
Yeah, I would love to see Stone Cold kick the shit out of Roman Reigns. Just absolutely unleash. I hate Roman Reigns so much. And I've never liked his character, what they've done with him. There was the whole like make Roman strong, even when everybody didn't like him. Like they would just pump up fake noise in there to like make it look like he was the. I just can't stand Roman Reigns, and what better way for like I would like to see Stone Cold end his career at WrestleMania would be awesome. Like just like take Roman Reigns out for good. He never comes back after the Stone Cold match. That would be great.
That's great. That's all I had. I didn't prepare past this point of the show.
Can I just give a little bit more? Can I just talk a little bit more about kind of the unsung heroes in WrestleMania this year? Because there are some matches that I'm intrigued about that I would like to kind of bring up, or at least talk about my hopes. Just to be very quick, I promise.
he's like I spent hours preparing. I pushed all of my work off today just
no.
give me a couple more. Give me 30 to 60 seconds.
I'll hit you with some quick stuff. Okay, so obviously we didn't even touch on the women's division, which is really intriguing and stuff that I really really enjoy about what modern WWE has to offer, because I really like the storylines and the matches. Okay, so Bianca Belair, I want her to definitely beat Sasha Banks. I think she has been just a really nice addition to SmackDown. She's entertaining. I would love it if they would incorporate her with the Street Profits, since she's married to Montez Ford, which is one member of the Street Profits. Like, it'd be cool if they had kind of a like a mixed stable going. Would be kind of cool. Really want her to beat Sasha Banks. Asuka and Rhea Ripley is just so tragically underhyped, because Asuka is one of the best women wrestlers today, and Rhea Ripley is one of the best up and coming wrestlers. So the fact that they have a match at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship is really cool. I definitely want Rhea Ripley to win, and I want her to win in significant fashion, because, and this is what I'm really really hoping happens here. I really hope that my girl Becky Lynch makes a return at WrestleMania and challenges Rhea Ripley. I think they could have a really good program over the course of the spring and maybe leading into summer and SummerSlam. I think it'd be really entertaining to watch. So I really hope that happens, and I won't be disappointed if it doesn't. But you'd get a pop from me if I was in that crowd. Last thing.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. No, please, right. Scotty, please. I stepped on your.
It's okay. It's quite all right. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Last thing that I want to talk about. Oh, no, can you? Yeah. Last thing I want to talk about very quickly is something that I originally hated the idea of, and this is the Shane McMahon Braun Strowman feud that they just kind of manufactured out of nowhere. And they, it all started from Shane McMahon calling Braun Strowman stupid, and that's literally how this whole thing started. Is Braun Strowman's this giant monster, and Shane McMahon is this little rich, daddy's boy. I can do whatever I want in the company, saying, "I'm stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid." Like, I thought it was really dumb this entire time, and I really felt bad about myself for even investing minutes watching it each Monday night. But now I kind of am into Braun Strowman kicking Shane McMahon's ass in a steel cage. Like, that actually, I will get a lot of joy and fulfillment out of that match, and Braun Strowman just wrecking Shane McMahon. So because of that, I guess I have to give kudos to WWE to make me interested in that.
Well, and that Shane McMahon's going to do one of the classic Shane McMahon things. So it is always nice to have that, at those big pay-per-views. I mean, I love watching, the stunts, and Shane McMahon never disappoints there.
The guy's 50. He's going to kill himself.
That's what we've been saying for years now. We've been saying that he was going to kill himself when he was jumping off the Titantron.
He's never been in shape or anything.
Yeah, never.
Dead serious. I'm not even joking. Because I've been watching Raw. If you look at Raw 6 weeks ago when this whole feud started, so again, there's only been 5 minutes to lead up to this, right? At the if when you watch WrestleMania this weekend, watch the promo and the build up. You can see Shane McMahon lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks as he gets into shape to watch this match, and how you can just tell that he just does whatever he wants for an entire year. And then come winter, he's like, well, I guess I better get in shape for WrestleMania again. You can see the evolution in his face, let alone his body, as he gets built up to this match. It's just a wild thing to watch that you probably wouldn't have noticed 20 years ago.
One thing, though, about Shane McMahon is he has one of the best entrance songs ever. Here comes the money.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's up there.
Here we go.
And this tells you everything you need to know about our show here. We spent about 8 to 10 minutes on the Masters, what I called one of the most tradition-rich sporting events in the entire world. And we spent about 35 minutes on WrestleMania. So there you go.
Daytona.
Ruthless obsession. There you go. I got a top 3. Who wants it? All right, Scotty wants it. Scotty, top 3 things to do at the beach.
Throw a frisbee. Swim in the water. Get a tan.
There you
go. Andrew, top 3. In the spirit of WrestleMania, I want your top 3 wrestlers.
Whoa. Hold on a minute.
Mine personally?
That is a big question.
3.
Okay, well,
top 3 wrestlers.
That's a whole show right there.
Okay, well, I will give you my my top 3, my favorite. So I gotta say, number 3 is the Nature Boy Ric Flair Number 2 is Brock Lesnar, and number 1 is Jeff Hardy. Those are
I
my
love
top
that
3.
top 3.
Yeah. Kevin, gosh, that actually threw me. I had a good one. Top 3 whiskeys.
Tullamore Dew. Makers. Oh, jeez. Bourbon count? Bourbon whiskey. Oh, well, Buffalo Trace. Oh, that changes my whole list, but I'll say Buffalo Trace. But I like so many of them. All right. Good show. That was a show. This is a meaty show, wouldn't you say?
Full of meat.
It's got some girth. I'll cut
All
that.
Right.
So, no. That stays in. That's
oh,
in.
no.
Oh, that's in.
We can't end
All
with
right.
that. Oh, no.
The meaty, girthy show. Till next time. All right. So if you've listened this far, you must, for some reason, like what you've heard. So given that, please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter @ObsessionCast for all future episode updates and whatever else we might post, sports related or otherwise. Thanks for watching.